All right, is it audible and visible right now? Very good evening to all of you. Good to see all of you out here once again today. If you could hear and see me, if you could just put it up in the chat box, fantastic. Now that I know that I'm loud and clear and audible, I'm sure all of you are excited for the conference coming up this weekend. Yes or no? All right, fantastic. And I hope all of y'all have been preparing as well. Have you all gone through the research guides? Have you all gone through, the procedure? Don't worry, you don't need to buy heart anything. Everything is more like a guidance. It's more of a space where we want you to share your opinions. So don't get bogged down or impacted when it comes to your discussions and deliberations in the committees as well. So it's like an open platform. You all have selected the topics, they're all very interesting, and it's all of us young people coming together to discuss it. But to begin with today's training sessions, and now that I know many of you are well familiar with with what you all are doing in the conference, which committees you all are part of, what I want to be just walking through today is the first half of the rules of procedure. The first half of the rules of procedure. Now, when I say rules of procedure, now I don't mean the rules of procedure like how we have like strict rules like that, where if you don't do this, you'll get minus marks, or if you don't do something like this, you'll get punishment. So it's I want you to look at it not as rules, but more like guidelines or a way for you to share your opinions and thoughts. So this is basically to help you. It's not to chain you or block you from sharing your thoughts. It's more towards helping you. What do you say? More towards helping you share your thoughts and opinions in the conference at large. So what I'd request you all to do, actually don't do that. I will only share my screen with all of you. I'm going to share the rules of procedure on the screen so we can go through it together. I will explain everything point by point. The three sessions that we are going to be doing. Session one is going to be the first half of the rules of procedure completing today. Second session will be tomorrow when we complete the second half of the rules of procedure. And the final session will be a doubt solving session where in the chat box, how you all are saying hi, good evening, yes, and so on and so forth. Like that, you all can ask me questions and I will answer any and all questions on the third day of the session at large. So this is how I have planned out to do the entire discussions at large. So if you just give me a moment, I'm just going to get the rules of procedure shared onto our YouTube as well. So it is a little bit more clear for all of you as well. Good evening once again, Olive and Sweta. Good to see you all here as well. We're just going to zoom this in a little bit so it's even more visible to all of you. And yeah, I think it looks good. It looks clear. So today we're going to cover the first half of the rules of procedure, right? So the first procedure that we're going to be talking about is something which is called delegate representation. Okay, so again, before I begin explaining to you, these are just guidelines. These are to help you discuss. You don't need to buy heart anything. Nobody's giving you an examination on this. It's just to help you discuss. Because I'm sure after you all have selected your topics, after you all have got your research guides, after you all have done your own research, you all must be having a lot of thoughts you all want to share, right? You all must be wanting to talk about it. How you go about talking about it in a structured format is basically what the procedure is. So the first topic, which is essentially there, the first topic which is essentially there is something which is called delegate representation. Delegate representation is essentially what is basically each one of you, whoever is participating in this conference, each one of you are been given a particular country or a particular portfolio. Like you must have received, Tejal ma'am would have sent one message on your groups, right? Your name followed by the committee you selected, followed by the topic you selected. This is basically what the delegate representation means. It means which country you're representing and in which committee. And what does this line mean? What does this line mean? We'll have one voting matters as mentioned in the procedure. So you see the United Nations, much like how you have Students' Council, Indian Parliament, it's like a democracy. It's like a democracy. Everybody has a vote. Like it's not like just because I am, say for example, USA, I can do whatever I want, even though in reality sometimes that does happen. But actually in the United Nations, what essentially happens is each country, every country, big country, small country, developed country, undeveloped country, third world country, does not matter. Whoever you're representing, whichever country you're representing, everybody is on a level platform. Everybody has one vote on all voting matters. So everything that is done in the conference, whatever our discussions, what we are going to discuss, how we are going to discuss, everything goes to something called voting. And each one of you, each country representative, which basically means each one of you will have one vote on all the voting matters. This is essentially what delegate representation in simple terms means. Just to summarize, my name is Prashant. I am the delegate of India in United Nations Security Council. That's it. And whenever anything is there to vote, I can vote. This is what basically the delegate representation essentially means. The second thing is communication languages. So you see, many people I know are participating here for first time, correct? And sometimes we might not feel, comfortable, how do you say, being vocal in a particular language. So even in the United Nations, it's like that. It's not mandatory that you have to speak in X particular language or Y particular language, right? I mean, you don't expect the Italians to speak in crisp English. You don't expect the French president to speak in, in a proper prolific English manner, right? So everybody has their own way of communication, and the United Nations and even this MUN is an encompassing platform, an inclusive platform. So if you are not comfortable speaking in English, that is okay. It's not a public speaking competition. We are not doing English grammar out here. We are solving world problems. So if you are comfortable in English, speak in English. And of course, if you are comfortable in our state language, Malayalam, you can speak in that as well. There is absolutely no problem. In fact, all your adjudicators and all your judges will also be knowing both English and Malayalam. So you don't need to worry about, suppose there is something you want to communicate. Like, say, for example, you and me, say, for example, you and your best friend. Sometimes you'll maybe talking in what do you call that, in Malayalam with each other, right? It's like a normal thing for us to talk to each other in Malayalam when we're having conversation. It's a natural thing, right? So same even in MUN and this MUN as well, we will recognize both English and Malayalam as well. This is what your second point essentially means. Your third point, electronic devices. So many queries came in from some students as well. And if you all would have gone through the rules of procedure, you would have realized that yes, electronic devices are very much permitted. We do encourage you to bring it, but at the same point of time, what I'd like you to do is use it only for your committee and agenda. You see, we are coming here to discuss problems. I know all of us, use the Instagram, use the Facebook, use maybe PUBG and Free Fire also for that matter, and that's fine, during your socials or, when you have free time during the conference, which is very rare, of course. But at the same point of time, what I'd like you to do is use your electronic equipments for the healthy purposes. So bring your electronic equipments with you. In every classroom, we have kept one extension board as well, so you can charge your electronic devices as well. This copy of the rules of procedure, a copy of the research guides and study guides that you have, all of these different things can be there with you, on your mobile phones, laptops or tablets in your conference as well. So essentially, bring your electronic devices, but use it for the correct reasons. If you don't use it for correct reasons, it will not be a good thing for you only at the end of the day. So even if parents are listening, teachers are listening, you are allowed and you are encouraged to bring your children with the electronic devices so that they can use it. Another thing I'd like to highlight at this point of time, that in our school, of course, there is Wi-Fi, no doubt about it. But when there are so many of you trying to access the same Wi-Fi connection, you cannot expect it to work at a prominent pace. So I have one suggestion for you, which I give all my students who come for the conferences. The suggestion is what? The suggestion is that whether you are on Jio, Airtel, whichever mobile carrier, I think for maybe 10 rupees or 20 rupees a day, you get an unlimited internet connection for 24 hours. So purchase that pack so you have an unlimited data, use your mobile hotspots, you will face no problem. Wi-Fi is there, but how fast it's going to work and how many people at one time can connect is something that I cannot commit to. So this is my recommendation for all of you as well. So bring your electronic equipments, have a copy of the procedure, have a copy of the research guides, use the internet when you want to talk and share your thoughts and opinions as well. And with this, we complete with point number 3 about the electronic devices. The fourth one is decorum. Now, decorum is basically good behavior. You see, I know some of us are quite, uh, We are all nice people, right? End of the day, and we're all coming here to make new friends, have fun, solve problems, things like that. So only thing that I'm trying to tell you is that when you come this weekend, you're not just representing, yourself. You're representing your school. You're representing your families. You're representing, you're representing a country for that matter. And and even though you may be a student in the 8th, 9th, 11th, or 12th grade, at this juncture time, you are going to be treated and you are going to be looked upon as a delegate of another country in this simulation. So we expect you to behave in that kind of way as well. And sometimes I'll tell you another thing, what I've also noticed that happens, to be honest with you, that when we are, in heated discussion, heated debate, sometimes we use the foul language. Okay, it happens. It's not like I'm trying to point a finger to you or to me or to anybody for that matter. But at some points of time, we have, in a heated discussion, we might, say something which is unparliamentary or foul in nature. So my suggestion to you is, and recommendation is, make sure that you keep yourself cool, behave yourself in an appropriate manner. Yes, heated debates and heated discussions are good, but don't do anything which is unparliamentary or foul in nature. It will result in a temporary suspension or permanent suspension in the conference. So just to summarize what point number 4 in your procedure means, it means to just be well behaved, and that's about it. All right, well behaved, good approach, humble, grounded, vocal, all of these things are good. But don't use any foul language or give any foul comments during the conference as well. Next up, we come to something which is called informal voting. Informal voting. Now, what does this informal voting essentially mean? Now, everything that we do in the conference, my friends, everything that we do in the conference goes through something which is known as voting. Like I said, just like your students council, just like our Indian parliament, just like the United Nations, even here it is basically a, what do you call it, a democracy. So whatever needs to be done in the conference, whatever is going to be discussed in the conference, goes through something which is called informal voting. And how do you do this entire thing? I will explain to you. Now, when you come in on Saturday at the conference, you will come to your classroom or committee room. In that committee room, you will notice that all the desks have been laid out there. On every desk, you will find your conference kits, which are for you. And also, you will find something called a placard, which is basically like an A4 thick sheet with your country's name printed on it. All right. Like how you have a roll number and you are recognized roll number 5 and 8A, like that. Here you are recognized by your placard and country you're representing. No one's going to be know. You're meeting new people. They don't know your name. They don't know where you're from. None of these things. But they will be able to recognize you from the country that you are representing. From the country that you are representing. This placard will be kept on your desks for you on Saturday when you come in for your first committee session. Anytime that you want to vote, anytime something comes up for voting, you simply need to raise your placard in accordance. So somebody says, there's some ABC thing that is going to be going in for voting. The chairperson, who is basically your adjudicator, will ask, how many people want to discuss this or how many people are for this discussion? Please raise your placards. Then at that point of time, if you feel, okay, this is an important thing that needs to be discussed or this is an important thing that needs to be voted on, simply raise your placard. Then the chairperson will ask how many don't want to discuss this particular thing. Those who are not interested or feel that this is not an important discussion to have can raise their placard at that point of time based on simple majority. Either that motion or that discussion or that whatever thing that you're voting on will either pass or fail. Just to summarize, what is informal voting? It is basically, instead of showing your hands, you show the placard. Based on simple majority, either we will do X particular thing or we will not do X particular thing. It is based on simple majority. So if there are 30 people in your committee, if 20 people of you all agree, if 20 of you all agree to essentially be a part of, what do you call that, if 50, 20 of you all agree to be a part of a particular discussion in your committee and vote for it, then it will pass. If less than 50% agree, then that entire session will essentially not pass. What I'm trying to tell you is that everything that is done in the committee, it goes through this thing called informal voting. Everything. It's not that just because I said we have to do or you said that everybody has to do. Anyone can bring up a discussion in committee. Anybody can raise a placard, say like, hey, let's do this or let's do that. But at the same point of time, at the same point of time, by simple majority, you all can essentially, how do you say, uh, either pass or fail. Students, I'm seeing that you all are fooling around in the chat box. This is the last time I am saying I will be able to trace you from your username. So please try to avoid what do you call that, putting these messages, especially Len. I can see you. I can get your email ID and your name from your registered Google ID. So please don't do this any further. Not going to do it this time. But if any foul comments come out here, it will straight away be reported to you and your school and your parents. First and last time I'm saying, let's have a good experience at the conference, and let's hope that you, I'm not concerned to send it like. Anyhow, informal voting basically means what? Informal voting essentially means simple raise of placards, simple show of placards. Either it passes or fails 50% majority. Everything, 99% of everything that happens in this conference, except for your final resolution, goes under something called informal voting. Goes under something called informal. Whatever you do in this conference, everything goes under informal voting in this conference at large. This is essentially what your informal voting is. Simple majority on everything that is happening in your committee. Formal voting is something that I will explain to you when we discuss resolution in session 2. Right now, just to summarize the first 5 points: delegate representation, who you are, and the value of your one vote. Communication languages: speak in the language you are comfortable. Both English and Malayalam will be recognized. Electronic devices: bring them with you. Use them for rules of procedure, research guides, using the internet for research purposes, and for important committee purposes only. Decorum: be well behaved during the conference. Informal voting: simple majority. Either we're doing this or we're not doing this. All of you as a committee decide. I don't decide. Your chairperson doesn't decide. Nobody decides. It's all of you as a group who are discussing that same topic. All of you all decide together. Next up, we will go to something called rules pertaining to the executive board. Rules pertaining to the executive board. Executive board is just a fancy word for judges. Like how in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, you have speakers, correct? You have, how do you say, you have your speaker and deputy speaker in a Lok Sabha, or in your debates, you'll have a speaker as well also in your school. Same way, even in MUN, there is an executive board, which is basically a chairperson or a judge who doesn't judge you as such, is basically there to guide you through the entire discussions and deliberations and take into consideration the voting and your performance and so on, different things. The executive board are very friendly. Okay, they're young. Some of them you may be familiar with also. They are also from Kerala, from Kochi and Kottayam and Kanchapalli. They are approachable. They're young. They are also from our generation, and they're not like sirs or teachers that you will be intimidated by them. They're very nice people. You can consider them like your elder brother or sister, and they will be there to help you, to guide you, to mentor you, and to facilitate the discussions in the conference. So these people are young like us, school or college going students just like us, experienced in MUN, like how you are coming for the first time. These students have participated in MUN multiple times over the years. So they have a lot of experience as being where you have been as a delegate. So now they have climbed up the ladder and have become an executive board members. What is their role and responsibility? To manage the committee, to help you through your discussions, to moderate your discussions, to enable you to reach a solution as a group. Now, decision of executive board will be upheld and final for all discussions and debate matters in committee. So whatever is being discussed in committee, final decision, will be held by executive board member who's been allocated to that committee. In case you do not follow this rule, which is rule number 4, decorum, chairperson also has the right to take necessary action such as a temporary or permanent suspension. Of course, I will also be there, so no one is going to take such action without me being there, so don't worry about that. And also, if you are making a particular statement, in a conference, they have the right to ask for justification as well, saying, okay, you are saying, like, say for example, I'm North Korea and I say I don't have any nuclear bombs in my country. So that I know, you know, even chairperson knows that it is not necessary, a statement which is justified, because many people know and many news articles and official sources of information are there that essentially, what do you call that? That essentially, highlight the fact that I have nuclear bomb. So if you have made a statement in committee, he or she might ask, saying, okay, you have made this statement, can you kindly justify? So, it will give clarity to the chairperson, and it will give clarity to the other committee members in your committee as well. This is what your executive board is. Again, to summarize, they are young, they are friendly, they are approachable, they are from Gen Z, they are experienced in MUN. They were sitting once upon a time exactly where you were sitting. Then they really liked MUN and now have, after multiple conferences, reached a position of an executive board member. The next thing we have something is called appeal. This is a very helpful thing for all of you. Very, very helpful thing for all of you. Appeal essentially means, in case you are facing any problem, in case you are facing any issue, like say for example in class, in school, you are facing some sort of problem. What do? You raise your hand and you tell your teacher, correct, that okay, I'm facing ABC issue. Similarly, even in MUN, if you are facing any kind of issue, simply you can raise your placard and you can say permission to appeal to the chair. Permission to appeal to the chair. Appeal basically means, I want to tell you something, I'm not comfortable with ABC, XYZ things. How do you do it? Simply raise your placard, permission to appeal to the chair, like how you raise your hand and say, ma'am, may I use the washroom? May I be excused from class for 5 minutes? Similarly, appeal essentially means raise your placard, permission to appeal to the chair. Once the chairperson says, yes, delegate, what is your concern? You can go to the chairperson at the desk of the where he or she is sitting, and whatever issue you're facing, as a friend, you can tell him or her. Like I said, they are our age. They were sitting where you were sitting once upon a time. So if you are actually facing any sort of issue during committee, we are there. The chairpersons are there. Simply raise your placard, permission to appeal. Boss, I am feeling ABC XYZ problem. And if the chairperson thinks, okay, this is genuine thing that you are facing concern with, for sure, chair will take action and help you through whatever problem that you're facing as well. This is what the meaning of appeal essentially is. Like that, we have something called censure. You know how class teacher, sometimes if somebody is misbehaving, class teacher removes a particular student from the classroom. Similarly, even in MUN, you can be removed from the classroom. You, in the sense, you can be removed. The chairperson can also be removed. Anyone can be removed. This is known as censure. So basically, in case you're causing extreme disharmony of conduct and proceedings, means you're fooling around in the committee, you're not behaving appropriately, you're causing problems in the entire conference, then at this juncture in time, the chairperson, any delegate, not just a chairperson, any delegate can simply raise their placard and use this term highlighted in inverted commas or quotations, motion to censure the delegate or executive board member of so and so country. What does this essentially mean? Suppose I am in your committee, okay, and all of you all are having, proper discussions and everything is happening in the right way, but I'm fooling around, I'm causing problems in the committee, I'm causing issues in the committee, I'm shouting, I'm misbehaving, using foul language, and spoiling the whole vibe of the entire discussion that's taking place. You have the power. You have the power to remove me from the committee. You have the power to do that. So if you feel that okay, Prashant is misbehaving, simply raise your placard, motion to censure the delegate of Prashant or whichever country I'm representing, and then it will go through something called informal voting. Remember, I told you everything goes through informal voting. This too will go through informal voting as well. Now, suppose there are 30 students in the committee. Okay, you have raised this motion to remove me from the committee. You require 2/3 majority, which basically means out of 30 students, 21 students must agree with you now, saying, okay, Prashant is misbehaving and should be removed from the committee, and then this will pass. In fact, you as a delegate have given power to even remove the executive board member. So suppose your chairperson, your executive board member is not doing the moderating the committee properly or the conference properly, you as a committee and all you students in that committee discussing that topic have the power to censure your chairperson as well at the same point. But only thing is you require to go through the informal voting once again, and at the same point of time, for this you require the 2/3 majority. For the 2/3 majority, this is what censure essentially means. Then we go to point number 10, Secretary General. Secretary General is lots like the principal of your school, you could say. Secretary General is like the apex authority of the conference at large. She, along with the principal of the school, our principal, Miss Vinita, they will be the final decision makers of the conference, and both of these authorities will have sweeping powers over the conference, and decision will be final. So basically, what this basically means, like how in school principal is, decision is final, same way even in MUN, Secretary General and principal of the schools decision is always final when it comes to the conference and any major decision that essentially needs to be made. This again, like I said, is very, very rarely used. I don't think in years and years it has been used. I'm sure it won't be used here as well, because everybody is mature enough to have healthy discussions. But like I said, for your own safety and for your own security and for the betterment of the conference, the principal and secretary general have been appointed with these powers as well. So these points comprise of the rules pertaining to the executive board. Just to summarize, point number 7, executive board member means what? Your chairperson, who is your age, from the same generation, was sitting once upon a time where you are going to be sitting on Saturday, has experienced MUN before, and is there to help and guide you and moderate your discussions at large, and to ensure that you don't misbehave in any manner. There are no teachers or sirs, they are young just like us. Appeal, very helpful to you. Not comfortable something, permission to appeal to the chair. Chairperson says, yes, delegate, go to the chair and say, okay, you're facing this problem, I will solve it. Censure, anybody misbehaving the committee, any delegate or even executive board member for that matter, can be removed from committee. You have the power. So you will censure the delegate. Only thing, it will go through the informal voting, where 2/3 majority of your committee needs to essentially abide by the fact that, okay, this delegate who has raised this motion is correct and should be removed. Secretary General and principal, final decision makers of the entire conference, they have the sweeping powers. These are your rules pertaining to the executive board. Now we come to the important things, which is basically called debate rules, which is essentially called debate rules. What are debate rules? What are debate rules? Debate rules are essentially, debate rules are how you speak in the committee, how you talk in the committee. First things first is attendance. So now what I want you to do, once again, I want you to visualize. Visualize you coming into the classroom. Visualize you sitting on your desk. There are conference kits, there's your placards, there's a chairperson's desk where the teacher sits, everybody sit. When you go to school first thing in the morning, what is done? Attendance is done, correct? Same way, even in actual United Nations and even in MUN, attendance is done there also. Number of delegates required to begin should be 1/4 of the total committee strength. So whichever topic you're representing will be in different classrooms. You go there and you sit. Once minimum 1/4 of committee members are there, then only we can begin with the discussion. Then only we can begin with the discussion, which basically means if the 30 students in your committee, you should have 12, 18, 24, 8, 6, about 7 to 8 students minimum to start the committee discussions at large. But again, this is just a formality. It's nothing to be concerned too much about. The next point is something called setting an agenda. Now, everything that is done in a conference is done through something called motion. What does this word motion mean is what I want to explain to you. Motion essentially means I want to do ABC, XYZ things. Motion means I want to initiate this discussion. Motion means I want committee to do ABC, XYZ things at large. Everything that happens in a conference is called a motion. So setting an agenda is also a motion. Now in some conferences, over the years as MUN culture grows into our, Kottayam and Kanchipalli district, at that point of time, MUN conferences sometimes have maybe 2 or 3 topics being discussed in a particular committee, not just one topic. In our conference, every committee has one agenda. Sometimes one committee might have multiple agendas to solve in the same committee. So motion to set an agenda means which agenda is going to be discussed. In this case, it is more of a formality because there is only one agenda. So once the students come in, we give our attendance to the chairperson. Chairperson will repeat one dialogue like a robot. Any points or motions on the floor? Any points or motions on the floor? Always chairperson will repeat this very regularly. The first type of motion is motion to set an agenda. Let any one of you in that committee simply raise your placard, say the following statement: motion to set the agenda, social media and its impact on mental health. Your committee's WHO, the agenda or topic of discussion is social media and its impact on mental health. So simply put, you raise your placard, motion to set the agenda, social media and its impact on mental health. Again, just because you have raised the motion does not mean that the committee wants to discuss it. So it will go under the informal voting with a simple majority. So after, say for example, you raise your placard, say motion to set the agenda, social media and its impact on mental health, then the chairperson will ask all those delegates wanting to discuss this agenda, please raise your placards. Placards will be raised. Majority will agree that motion will be in order, or means the discussions will officially start with simple majority. Again, like I said, this point is a mere formality for the simple reason is in our conference, every committee has just one agenda. But over the years, as the MUN culture develops, there will be one committee with maybe 2 or 3 agendas that will be there. And then this is a very important thing because it will decide which agenda is going to be discussed first. This is what you call setting the agenda. Next up, we have something called general speakers list. Now, this is an important thing I want you all to listen to. Okay, this is an important thing I want you all to listen to. General speakers list. General speakers list essentially is what is like an introductory speech where you don't have to give the whole story, but you have to give the trailer. You know how before you see a Netflix show, you first see the trailer, you find it, then you get into the depth of the entire season. Similarly, general speakers list is an introductory address, introductory speech, which basically means all delegates alphabetically from A to Z will get an opportunity to give an general speakers list for 90 seconds, which is 1.5 minutes. In this address, what you need to do, I'll tell you. You need to first greet all the delegates because it's a nice thing to do, good gesture, good vibes. Then you need to say, I am the delegate of, my name is so and so, I am the delegate of France, and what your stance is on the agenda. Take, for example, suppose I'm India and United Nations Security Council, and we are discussing Kashmir issue. When country I, my country's chance comes to give general speakers list, I will come in front of the entire committee and I will greet the delegates. Warm greetings to the esteemed delegates in the Security Council this morning. My name is Prashant, and I am the delegate of India. And considering the sensitivity of the agenda of Kashmir, I would like to warmly share with all of you that Kashmir is, and always will be part of India. Whatever border disputes that had to happen happened at the time of 1947 with the country Pakistan. Our country does not see the need to deliberate on this entire thing because it has already been decided 75 years ago. Why do we need to continuously discuss this? Also, there have been multiple attacks of terrorism. There is a country that is continuously infiltrating our Kashmir and causing a lot of problems to the people who are living out there. And this is not a humanitarian thing for another country to do. And therefore, I would like to put forth my case stating that Kashmir is, was, and always will be a part of India. And all of these attacks on Kashmir, irrespective of whoever is behind it, needs to stop under immediate effect. What I basically just did is I did not get into the entire details of Kashmir. We will get into it when it comes to the discussion because we are discussing for 1.5 days. Here, what the objective of general speakers list is to give an introductory address. See, just like in a debate, you have for and you have against. In MUN also, you have for, you have against, and also you have a batch of people called neutral, which are not concerned. Like say, for example, Thailand. What has Thailand got to do with Kashmir? Correct. But there are international relations at play. Right now, India and Thailand share very good relationships. It is a very popular tourist destination for what do you call that, for Indians. Similarly, how so many of your parents must be going to Gulf countries to work, or for holidays for that matter, UAE, Qatar, Oman, so on. Why? We share good relations with those countries. So those countries will be our friends. They are our friends. That is why we share those good relations with them. So from this general speakers list, you need to basically communicate to everybody else who are representing the different countries which country you are and what your stance is. Are you for the topic, against the topic, or neutral towards it? This is a very important thing. Why? Because you need to understand who your friends are. When I say the word friends, I don't mean your best friend in school. I don't mean your best friend in school. Your worst enemy in school can be your best friend in committee because of his or her country she's representing. So when it comes to India, India and Russia are great friends from decades. Many years have gone by since India and Russia have been friends, to be very honest with you. They are the only country who stood by us. Now, when it comes to Russia and Ukraine war, you won't be happy, saying that, Russia is doing wrong. You also know, I also know. But because we are such good friends, we have to be there for our friends, right? Because they were there for us when nobody was there. That is the power of international relations. This how you will identify. You cannot research on all the countries, right? You are researching on your own country. But when the committee starts, it will start with this thing called general speakers list, where you will be able to identify who is with you, who is on the same team as you, who is on the same block as you, who is against you and who's your enemy, and who is neutral. What I'd like you all to do, and most people make this mistake in committees, that everybody is so absorbed in making their general speakers list and giving their speech, they don't listen only to other people's speech. So, what I want you all to do, and this is a tip for all the students who are attending this training session, when you're sitting in committee, I want you to make one table in your notepads, which will be provided to you in your conference kits. In that, I want you to make one table for, against, and neutral. And I want you to give the address and listen to everybody's general speakers list, and I want you to place them. I want you to place them in one of the three tables. So this way you will have a list saying, okay, India, Russia, Japan, these are my friends. Pakistan is not my friend. USA may or may not be my friend. And then there is the neutral countries. Why are neutral countries important? I'll tell you. Neutral countries are important. Why? Because they have the biggest power in the committee, because they have a vote. Just like you have a vote, people who are for the topic will vote for the topic only. People who are against the topic will naturally work against the topic. But the people who are neutral, they can vote for either of the two. So at this juncture, what happens? Your job is to convince this batch of neutral people, because convincing the people who are against you is very difficult. You must try, but it is difficult. But neutral people, you should try to get onto your team, because end of the day, everything comes down to voting. So if for the topic have 10 people, against the topic have 10 people, and there are 10 people who are neutral, whoever gets the maximum support in the entire diplomacy of things is that team which is basically going to win. MUN is not a solo performance, it is a group performance where you are not alone. You have friends there, you just don't know it as yet. How will you get to know these friends? You will get to know these friends from the general speakers list. What you need to communicate in this general speakers list, you don't have to use Dr. Shashi Tharoor's language. Speak in simple, clear language so people can understand. If you speak a language people don't understand, it will go bouncer. So listen to what other people have to say, put them in one of the three tables, either for, against, or neutral. And most importantly, when you are speaking, what you need to communicate, you must give a salutation and greet everybody, because we are mature leaders of different countries in this conference. Two, you need to explain your stance very clearly. I'm for, against, or neutral. And three, you have to give maybe two or three very important reasons why you are for, against, or neutral. Again, I'm repeating. General speakers list, you greet the people, point number one. Second point, you explain, you tell in one sentence, I am for, against, or neutral. And third, you give three of the most important reasons why you are for, against, and neutral. This is what happens in general speakers list when you have to speak. But when it comes to listening, you must listen to everybody's address and you must understand who is for, who is against, and who is neutral. That is also very important, because if you don't know who your friends are, you may be the strongest speaker, you may be having the best ideas, you may be having all the research in the world, but you won't have anybody to vote for what you want to do. So it is important for you to identify who all are in your team. MUN is not a single player game. It is a diplomacy of countries. It's a diplomacy of relations. And the only way you are going to be able to find this out is through the general speakers list, which is going to happen in your first committee session in the Saturday, 29th of November, for 90 seconds. You have 90 seconds to give this address. So everybody gets a chance. Then we have something called yields. What is yield? Say, for example, you don't finish your 90 seconds. You've not finished your 90 seconds. You can use those 90 seconds wisely. You can use those 90 seconds wisely. How? How do you do that? When it comes to your discussions and debates, you have spoken maybe for 60 seconds in GSM. You covered what you had to do. You have three ways of yielding. One is you can yield to the comments. We'll start with this one. You can yield to comments. What does yield to comments mean? Means I have given my address. I want to know what other people in the committee think about what I have shared. I want to get their opinion on my stance and my reasons. This is called yield to comments. So you've given your introductory address in GSL. You have said, Chairperson, I would like to yield to comments. Chairperson will ask the committee, all those delegates wanting to share their thoughts on what Delegate of India has just said, please raise your placard. Chairperson will recognize whose placard is up. That person will stand up, share their thoughts and opinions on what you have shared. You will also be able to identify who your friends and enemies also are. Now, say, taking example of my speech when it came to about Pakistan and Kashmir, and I say yield to comments, naturally Pakistan will want to also counter my points, no, and strengthen his or her stance. So he or she will raise a placard and say, I'd like to share my opinions. But this is only if I yield to comments. Nobody has a right to say anything if I don't yield to comments. This is a very helpful thing because it will give you insight, it will give you knowledge, and it will give you idea of who your friends and enemies are when you yield to comments after your general speakers list. It's a very good thing to do. The next thing is yield to questions. Yield to questions means I have given my address, but I feel, there are some students maybe in the committee might need some more clarification, justification. Maybe, they are confused about one or two statements I have made. So they look like, they want to clarify with me certain things. So I can say after my GSL, yield to questions where the chairperson can allow the committee members, other students in your committee can ask you questions based on what you have shared. This is what yield to questions means. And the final one is yield to chairs. Suppose you are confused. Should I do yield to comments? Should I do yield to questions? Suppose you don't know what is the most apt way of doing it. You yield to the chair. Let the chair decide what he or she thinks which is more appropriate to for you to yield your time. This is how your GSL essentially works, and your first committee session is going to primarily comprise of point number 13 and point number 14. Again, I will summarize for you. General speakers list is an introductory address. It's an introductory address where you share your stance, your for, against, or neutral, along with three of the most important reasons as to why in 90 seconds. If you don't finish your 90 seconds, you have to yield your time. Means give your time. You can give your time to the chairperson if you are confused on what to do. You can give your time or yield your time to comments to listen to what other people think of what you have said. And you can yield your time to questions, any one of the three, of course, where the committee can ask you questions based on what you have shared. This is essentially what your general speakers list and yield to questions are. And between 9 and 12 o'clock on your first day of committee is when we are going to be essentially having this particular 2 points, which is going to be primarily simulated in the committee. This is what I essentially wanted to complete today. What I would like all of you to do as a homework for tomorrow's session, I want you to prepare your GSL, not through Chat GPT, in your own language. Remember, if you use Chat GPT language, you won't understand, other people also won't understand. But if you use your own language, then it will be more connectable. See, speaking to a person as a friend or as another human being is one thing, like how you speak to your best friend. Speaking in an overly formal AI language does not have the relatability that we can share with each other. Like, for example, I could have actually put this entire session into an AI application and had the AI virtual person conducting this entire session. But why I am conducting with you? Because it has a personal touch to it. Your GSL should be drafted by you. It's nobody's giving you points on using the biggest languages or using extraordinary wordings or giving some extra long speech. It's a very simple thing. It's a very important thing where you need to understand your stance for against neutral, and you need to understand what other countries stance also are, so you can recognize your friends in the conference as well. With this, we will conclude with today's training session. Tomorrow's training session is when we will complete moderated, unmoderated points and a few points of debates along with the paperwork. So first 15 points we have completed today. I want you to go through first 14 points we have completed today. I want you to through these 14 different points. I'm sure some of you all have many questions as well. Don't worry about a single thing. And I've seen some of you all have asked on the chat box as well. Note down those questions and keep it with you. I am going to complete point number 15 to 25 tomorrow, which are the 10 remaining points in detail. And finally, on the third day, from all 25 points, whatever your questions are in the chat box, you can ask me questions and I will answer each one of them. The reason why I'm not answering your questions now is because as we go through these two sessions, many of your questions will be automatically answered as well. So what you need to do, two things for homework. From point number 1 to point number 14, whatever questions you have, note them down and keep them. They will be answered in a phased manner. There is a plan in place. And second, work on your general speakers list address as well and prepare it without using the AI in your own language, English or Malayalam, your choice. That being said, thank you for coming in large numbers for this training sessions. It's going to be very helpful to all of you. It's going to enable you to open up a new chapter of learning something, learning in a unique way when it comes to all of us as Gen Z. And I will see you positively tomorrow once again at 6 p.m. for our training session 2, when we will complete point number 15 to 25. God bless you all. Have a lovely day and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.